here we are with another lesson at Hummy's World in the blending mode class. And aren't you proud of me? I didn't start it with, hey y'all. Okay, go back to the last lesson and listen to the beginning for that one. The blending mode we are on is the color blending mode, and we're going down in order from top to bottom. And look, we're the second to the last one. And if you've come this far with me, you've made it almost. You're almost there. Stick with me. If you are just starting here, just stumbled upon us, please go to www.hummingsworld.com. Yes, shameless plug. And look for the blending mode class and follow the guide from beginning to end, because you will learn a whole lot more that way. So the color blending mode is in the component group, and the hue lesson explains what a component is, and I won't go there again, so go back and listen to that one. But the color blending mode preserves the brightness of the bottom layer while adopting the hue and saturation from the top layer. Now, I can tell you this is probably one of my most used blending modes for designing, because if you take a ribbon, let's say, of any color, and you choose another color and make a solid color layer with it and apply the color blending mode, it's going to give it a brand new color, whatever color, the exact color that you're choosing. So if you're if you've got your color palette with your kit that you're designing, or even if you're just doing a layout and you want to recolor an element, and you want it to match something from another kit or something in your photo, you can use your eyedropper tool and get that color, and then just fill a layer with that color, group that with the element, and apply the color blending mode, and whammo, you've recolored exactly to the color that you were aiming for. I use it a lot for that reason. I don't use it a whole lot otherwise, but I managed. I can't believe I'm yawning. It's been a long day and I've worked hard, and I'm still working. I managed to use it in my sample, so I guess I do use it sometimes. But the three components are your brightness, and that sticks with your bottom layer. And right now, most of the time, our bottom layer is our photo layer in what we're playing with. So the brightness is going to stick on the bottom layer, but the hue and saturation is going to change on the entire image to whatever is in your texture layer. So there's a lot of control with this one, whereas there's not as much control with the other ones. And if we go and look at our graphic, and this is going to drive you batty, but look, looks the same as the hue and the saturation. Why is that? Well, I think we learned that in my little blubber in the last lesson. Go watch the blubber near the end of the video. Yeah, I leave my blubbers in my videos. That way you will learn from them. But this is taking on the hue, and as we said, there is no hue on this. We go back, watch the other lessons. I'm not going to explain it again. And it is also taking on the saturation, and there's no saturation in these colors. We explained that because the hue and the saturation were the last two lessons. Basically, it's almost, I guess, I didn't realize that till I started saying it, it's combining these two. the hue and the saturation. It's taking those two from the top layer, and those were the last two lessons. So it's doing more than one thing when you get to the color. Let's go on and see. Here's my graphic and how I applied it. So what I went after is something with texture. I thought, okay, find a photo with texture, because that's what's great about the color, because you can keep the texture, which is the brightness and the darkness. So here's my original photo. And so the brightness and the darkness of the texture here, the light from the sides and the darkness from the shadows of the cracks in the stone, are great texture, but that's lightness and darkness. If you go back here, you'll remember, preserves the brightness, the lightness and the darkness. So it's going to preserve that. It's going to preserve the texture. And then it's going to take on the color and the saturation of your texture layer. And let's go look at our texture layer. Here's our texture layer. It's actually quite beautiful. Okay, yummy. Yes, yummy. Haven't we been saying that? I think there's actually some strings in this, and there's a sequence, and there's some, I'm trying to remember what it is when we made these. There's some glued down pieces of jean material in there, and there's a lot of, see, here's a string here, and there's a lot of splatting and whatever, and it's just kind of yummy. But I chose this one. It has a lot of the same hue across it, and it's soft and should work with a lot of things and not be too drastic, as opposed to if I did a bright red one on you. And it doesn't have, it has a neutral saturation, not too saturated, not too unsaturated. And so, like, when I used it and applied the color, it just changed it from, it took out all the blues from the sky and the blue tinting, and it just gave it this uniform, nice feel to it. And so if you're like doing photos, and we may do some more of this later on in one of the other lessons, and you're trying to get like retro or old school certain feels, like maybe a 70s photo with an orangish yellow, you can apply that to the whole photo by adding a layer. Anyway, we won't get sidetracked. So then I said, what am I going to do? And I had this text, and it said, hey, it's okay. And then I have up here, you'll make it, because I thought, well, this feels like I'm climbing up a mountain of troubles. And so I said, well, I want to go ahead and try to use this blending mode one more time. And how could I do it? And I thought, well, we're climbing up, and I made this text real small so that this one would be read first, but I wanted the eye to be led up, and so I created an arrow. And I just used the shape tools, and I created this arrow. And then it was kind of difficult to choose my color. I did go ahead and apply the color blending mode. You can see if it's normal, it's just one big solid color, and that's not as artistic. Now I could just lower but that just kind of makes it opaque. It's a lot more fun when you change it to the color blending mode, and it actually keeps the texture of the rocks, and it almost looks like it's, up here where the rock bends in, it's bending in with it. It's almost like it's molded right onto the edge of the rock, and that's pretty cool. And I liked it, and so I had a little bit of trouble. I double clicked on this, and you, of course, well, go back over here. You remember it's also adapting the saturation, not the brightness. So if you're going up or down, it's affecting it a little bit, but this is saturation is really being affected. See, you go this way and it's not saturated. You go this way and it gets really saturated. It does change it some this way. That's just interesting. But basically, I clicked around and I had, ooh, yuck, okay, it blends better that way. Or do I want pink because, pink and gray, and this might be for a girl? Or do I want green? And, what emotion am I trying to evoke? Red, emergency, and I decided I wanted to go with a blue. And I just kept clicking around until it came up with the emotion, because I have a tutorial on my website, and I'm going to keep sending you back to my website. Go look for it. It's just a written one about color and emotions, and the color will affect your emotions. And I could have done red and made them all go, stop! Emergency! But I didn't. I wanted to evoke a calmness, like it's going to be okay. It is. Yeah, you might. I don't want to do the red color like, hey, you've got this huge mountain, because that's not what I want to do. I don't want him to think that I got this huge mountain and I'm going to panic, and so I have a red color and I can't get to the top of my trouble and overcome it. I wanted to evoke calm, and it's going to be okay. Look, there's a mountain, but hey, it's okay. You'll make it. And so that blue was calming, and so that's why I kind of chose that color. So the color really affects your images when you're making these with quotes. If you're doing that, you don't have to do that. And hey, I was just thinking, kind of needs to be grounded. I say that all the time. I have a grounding lesson in Course 1. Go watch it. And so what I'm going to do is create a new layer. I'm going to try this, see how it works. And I don't want any feathering. I had feathering from the last lesson. And I'm just going to make a selection and make sure I'm on my new layer. Go to Edit, Stroke, and I'm going to choose this teal color I got going on. I'm going to make it a little bit darker maybe. 10 pixels is good, and maybe 10 pixels is not good. I'm going to undo it. Where's my stroke? Let's double that. 20 pixels. Click OK. That's much better. Control D. And let's apply the color blending mode to this. Control U. It's a little light. I kind of was afraid of that. Let's make it a little. More saturated. And I like the way it looks around here and matches, but not the way it goes up there with the lightness of the. So yeah, let's go blending mode down a little bit. That helps, makes it a little bit more uniform. There we go. Let's see if I like that. Before and after. I think I just need to see. This is how I play, guys. I don't like the way I like the way this matches, but I don't like the way this is evoking a different color for me. Ah, there we go. Maybe I'm just going to do that. Change it. That's kind of like opposite on the color wheel. That might work. But I think just changing it to a different color, lightening it up a little bit. See, this is how I play. Now, do we like it? Before and after. Let's zoom in a little bit. Before and after. That's just a little bit sweeter. So can you tell my mind's working? Yeah, if I hold my shift key, it'll make it easier. Let's bring it so it's closer to the edge. Use my arrow keys. That feels a little bit better. Okay, I think I'll go with that. Watching me work. See, you have to make it, you want the eye to still come here and go up there, and I didn't want this that's trying to ground it all to be too distracting. So let's see what you can do playing with colors. Go get yourself some good texture photo and make something cool with the texture that I'm giving you, which is the same one I used, and show us your recipe, meaning let us see your layers palette, as always with all the other lessons, and have fun learning together.